came to this space, but we're still connected to our own ancestors, our friends that we've lost, and then just the broader communion of folks that we remember. We have a feast calendar where we remember particular people who we want to lift up from the last, from saints who died 20 years ago to saints who died 2,000 years ago. We bring them all in. And we say they're all here in some sense worshiping with us. We have that wonderful line from the liturgy where we say, joining our voices with angels and archangels and with all the company of heaven. What we're saying is when we go up to that altar, everybody comes with us. All those voices are with us. So that's this broad idea of the communion of saints. Well, one of the things that Elizabeth Johnson noticed is that in a lot of iconography of the communion of saints, it's sort of set up like a kind of a medieval kingdom model, where you've got the king who nobody's really allowed to go to, but that king's got people around him. If you know the right person, you can get in with the king. Like go talk to this person, then go talk to the king. And she didn't love that model. She goes, that makes me feel like I'm not cool enough to go talk to God, but at least I know some saints, and they might intercede for me. She said, are there other ways to think about what the communion of saints might be? And she says, what if she starts to find examples in Scripture and in tradition of understandings of the communion of saints more as a network of relationships in which together we begin to imagine what the life of this kingdom is. And it's not like I'm just needing some power behind my petitions. It's that I'm needing the examples of friends. I'm needing the example of people around me. You all are needing the example of me in the small ways that I come and participate in this space. We do this for one another. And so this idea, she began to explore this idea of the communion of saints as just a big gathering of people who are witnessing to one another about what it means to live a life of faith in Christ. Going to change slides and going to be a lot of text. But it's just because her language as she explores this is really rich, and it's not calculus I'm about to show you, but just don't be overwhelmed by lots of text that we're going to look at, because I just want to read this with you. This book came out late 90s. So she's been writing since the 80s. This book is like 96, 98, something like that. Yeah, I may get a copy and put it over here on a library shelf, which, by the way, is there for your consumption. Come grab a book if it looks interesting. We're gonna, Patty and I are gonna. We still have a plan. I'm stalling, but we still have a plan to organize our library. What's that? That when we hear that phrase, communion of saints, she wants us to think about one another. This is us. We're it. We are the communion of saints. How are we going to do that well? So, and then she's going to describe us. Some of those saints work anonymously in fidelity to duty. Others speak loudly in the assembly. Some risk the wrath of the powerful by engaging in action on behalf of justice for the poor and for women. Some bountifully nurture and nourish young life. Others show the way in nurturing and healing the oppressed self. Still others lead the way in caring for the earth. Some compassionately tend the sick and the dying. Others are artisans of new visions, new images, new designs for society. Many more live ordinary lives, growing in love through complex interactions of work, play, and relationship. She's just describing the various things that the communion of saints is up to. This is a very long sentence with lots of semicolons because she wants us to say it's as varied as the people are varied. What does a life of a saint look like? Well, let me tell you who I know and who I just met and who I'm hoping to become, and the people I'm going to meet a year from now. It's all part of it. So with that in mind, there's lots of reflection we could do on Elizabeth Johnson and what she offers us. But I want this to hover, her understanding of the communion of saints. I want that to hover for us while I call up one of our own saints. Mel, would you come take a seat with me?
Yes, I will.
I am excited to be in conversation with Mel Bland. Mel is our senior warden.
Yeah.
First senior warden of the parish of St. Julian's. How about that?
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
Well, there is a reason for that.
That's part of the story.
Coming.
That's part of the story, yeah.
Part of the story.
Pray for my beard, please. Yeah.
Recently retired from the corporate world, which he told me is why the beard. Mel is a graduate of West Point Military Academy, served 10 years in the Army, and comes to us with his wife, Catherine Lilly, has been a member here of St. Julian's for several years, many years now. I
can't remember, 6, 7 years.
7. That was my guess, maybe 6 or 7. Mel generously agreed to sit up here with me and share some of his story with us as we reflect on what it means to grow in relationship with the communion of saints around us. Mel, thank you so much for being part of this.
Thank you for asking me to do this.
Yeah. Where I want to start is I just want to hear a bit about your journey with God, about your journey of faith. What are some of the key points of your faith journey that you would like to share, that describe the way that you've walked with God to this point in your life? What are some of those key points?
I kind of look at it as a timeline of my life. I grew up in the deep South, deep South, in the AME church called the African Methodist Episcopal Church. So I'm like, didn't know I was going to be an Episcopal, but I was already getting ready to be Episcopal. I was already in the soup. Mm-hmm. So I have no memory of not ever being in a church. I grew up our parents had us in the church as a little boy. So it's the first touchstone in my life. So that's where I grew up. Always, every Sunday, youth group, everything. That's who I knew. The next major touch point in my life was that sometime as a young boy, our parents took us to hear Dr. Martin Luther King speak. And as a little boy, all I can remember, we were in this big place, and we were kids, and we were running and acting crazy. And he started to speak, and that rhythm started, and we stopped, and we sat down. All the kids, we stopped what we were doing, and we sat down. I cannot tell you what he said, but that rhythm and that in person really impacted me. And it is with me all my life. I would think that there's a lot of stuff that happened in between, but I think, so you're in the church and you're growing up and you think you're doing stuff, and the next big, I call it, touchstone point in my life was I was in the Army. And for those of you who really know me, I am deathly afraid of heights. I cannot be as high as that wall, and I'll get nervous. But to conquer that fear, I learned to jump out of airplanes and rappel out of helicopters. Let's not talk about that, Steve. It's very personal. But and we talk about to me, this is the first time I really, really said, okay, God. The first time I ever jumped out of a jet, you get sucked out, and literally you just go, phew. And during the descent, I became entangled with another parachutist, and he went under me. The air starts. Long story short, I'm in trouble, and I'm going like, I'm like still 4,000 feet in the air, and this ain't good. And it was the first time I really, really called upon the Lord. God, please help get me out of this, and I will. The problem I made, that's the I will part gets you in trouble. But an incredible calmness came over me. I did what I needed to do. I got out of trouble. And I was still crazy enough to continue to jump out of the airplanes. So that was a major, like, wow, this is a true God moment, and it's real. And then all that life happens. There's so much life that happens in between there.
Can I pause you there for just
Yeah.
a second? What changed for you after that? After you had feet on the ground, what changed for you after that episode?
A calmness that I have never experienced came over my life. No matter how much trouble I raised, that calmness came.
Not just when you were in 4,000 feet up, but like.
And and believe it or not, after that, and I'm like 20, 21, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 became my anchor verse. Trust in the Lord. Lean not to your own understanding. Because I was leaning to my understanding, trying to get out of this. And Steve, as you know, that's what we do. We lean to our own understanding when you're in charge. And that changed my life on how I managed myself and how I managed people in life and organizations. It really brought the trust in the Lord piece into my life. I may have kicked it out, but I would always bring it back to, at the end of the day, trust in the Lord.
That became home.
That became my home thing. So instead of getting a tattoo, I grew a beard. So that was, a major touchstone. And if you just fast forward, for us here, the next major touchstone in our life was Catherine and I were going to St. John's, and our spirit was really, was just leaving us. And so we were coming back from St. John's early service, and we were going to go to Santiago's for Mexican food. And of course, being the great guy I am, I missed a turn. And we turned at Cat Hollow, and we see this sign that says, St. Julian's Episcopal Church. And we go like, what? This is like 5 minutes from our house. Wow. But we're going to eat Mexican food first. So, but this is how God does you. We walk in the restaurant, and if you go there with me, they'll go, hey, Mel, how you doing? That's another story. But anyway, there were two ushers with their badges on, sitting there. And we said, tell us about the church. And he told us about it. And the next Sunday, we went to St. Julian's. And that's it. We've never not been to St. Julian's. And that's 6, 7 years ago. And so to me, and again, these moments of stillness come over me personally when these things happen, and I look back in retrospect. And so for me, I just wanted to give you some major touchstones in my life and how they have impacted me.
Yeah, thank you for that. We've been talking about friendships, and I wonder if what role friendships have played in your life of faith.
Wow. If you have a twin brother, your twin brother,
we've met him.
By default, becomes your best friend. We say we know each other, we've known each other forever, and we literally mean that. And so that friendship has been incredible because I watched him at the age of 40 be called to seminary, sold his house, sold his car, gave up everything, went to seminary, and became a minister. And he's still a minister today. So that's one major friendship that fashions me.
I got to interview him for this about year and a half ago after our last retreat.
I think another big part of friendship that is important, especially in the church, is the friends here. Simply when you walk into the church and you see people that you know. And I laugh with Felix, and Felix, I'm not going to do it. I think I'm okay. Don't fall out. Felix and I have this symbol. If I got in trouble, I'd do this. he was going to pass out.
I feel like I should know that.
As part of it, Tony, you can't know it. Yes, yeah, we're okay now, Felix. But for me, there's a constant rejuvenation every time I come on this campus, because I am walking into this brotherhood and sisterhood of friends who will just say hi. Even people I don't even know speak to you and say hi. But they're like just folks who are just always in your life, and you know, known Doug forever, for like known Steve forever, and you know, Richard and everybody and the friendships that we have built through the men's ministry with Robbie, and then finally through that, as part of my faith journey, taking on the responsibility of teaching Bible study has been one of the most enriching things of my life, because it forced me to be, oh, you thought you read the Bible. And so it's forced me to be better at that. And being a part of the men's ministry and some of the incredible conversations I've had with folks during that time about all parts of life. So that's the friendship part that sticks out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear a little bit more about either one of those. Are there and you know, obviously, when we're talking about friendship, sort of some of that just stays in the friendship. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if there are things that you can share about particular ways that you have seen friendships grow, you have felt friendships grow through maybe those particular ministries, through the men's ministry that you led for 2 or 3 years, or through the Bible studies. Tell us more about how you've experienced those as calling you deeper into friendships.
Wow. I think one of the most interesting things, the day we walked into St. Julian's, Scott Beach was a greeter. And he greeted us with such gusto that I'll never forget it. Then I find out where he went to school, and it's this Army-Navy thing you don't want to know about it. And we've been able to work through it, and I still like it. But I think of that. I think of, you know, Tony, you asked me a question. We're out taking a picture. I'm not going to tell anybody what the question you asked me. You asked me a very deep question about how I felt. And I said, that's a deep and moving question in Blanco County. Mm-hmm.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah. I think.
And afterwards, I thought, I wonder if I took it too deep while we were getting that picture.
Absolutely not. But that has been a tremendous source of brotherhood with Robbie, and you know, with Ross, and now as senior warden, I can go up to people and say, hey, Ross, what do you think? And I know I'm going to get like a genuine, heartfelt answer. I know that if I'm not behaving myself, Patty will get on my case. Unfortunately, quickly followed by B now. And I think that's friendship too. So I think that's friendship too. So
just because Jesus said, "Now I've called you friends," doesn't mean I'm going to say what you want me to say.
Yeah. I learned that right away.
I still got some things.
That's that lean not to your own understanding part coming out again. And so I think that's been important in our lives and my life. I'll speak for the brotherhood and sisterhood of how important it is when people say, hey, Will, how you doing, man? Good to see you. That means a lot to me. Richard, how'd that procedure go? Oh, I haven't got it right yet? Oh, it's 2 weeks from now. I'm sorry, man. But just being in that spot it means a lot to me in my spiritual journey, that constant knowledge that there is a community of believers and friends who are here.
Yeah, let's take a few minutes and, if it's okay with you, ask folks if they have things
Sure.
that they'd like to ask.
Sure.
All right, Tina, go ahead.
I had was, it's not unique to sort of male friendships, but just this feeling of like, modern life has this feeling of just deep loneliness, right? This
Mhm.
existential loneliness that we felt, I mean, more pronounced since the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
but on a deep level. I guess I'm curious about, at work, for example, like the men that you encountered, what about folks that don't have that community and don't have that safe place that they can go to be and process, and people that call them in and call them out, and like I don't know, I just get this sense that there's a lot of people that, myself included, that sort of like, I'm bad at friendships. Like I don't think a lot of people walk around thinking like I'm good at friendship. And so there's a part of me that's asking you the question, if you what would you say to folks that like maybe think that they're bad at friendship? What would you say to folks that have good friends and could maybe reach out to those that maybe don't even know how to articulate those deep things? I feel like there's all this stuff about like how men just don't speak the deep things in their heart. And I think the state of the world is like, the proof is in the pudding, right? We're not well. And so I'm asking a lot of things, but whatever jumps out at you, just about that sort of human condition of loneliness, how we reach out to others that maybe that don't feel that ease of friendship, but also like, what if the people in this room don't feel that ease of friendship? They don't know how to lean into it. Do you have anything?
I think what I have learned in, I hate to say it, 50 plus years of corporate America, where none of those people at the end were my friends. I just retired beginning of this month, and that's where the beard comes from, and that's a whole nother story. You can go to the prediction market and see how long I'm going to keep it. But what I noticed is that was not friendship. Here, I have two friends that I play golf with, and we also have dinner, and we talk about life, and we talk about faith, and those are real friends. Many of you here, you may not even realize that you're my real friend just because you say hi to me, or just because of our conversation. And we don't have to get into anything really deep, but I think as men, what I've learned, especially working in the men's ministry, is you have to create environments to allow people to be comfortable to let it go. Men are not going to let it go in a room full of people. But we will talk as we're walking to take a picture, as we're going to dinner. The things I've been asked during this time, I hold them sacredly, but it has given me faith that people actually do reach and really share. Me and Robbie stood outside after men's ministry in the parking lot one day and told each other our life story. Those things are important as you cultivate folks, and you just reach out. So I hope that answered that.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious about what you would say to someone that doesn't feel inclined to, like someone that maybe wants that connection so badly but struggles to put themselves out there in that way.
I think that's one of the hardest things that I had to learn to do, was number one, in corporate America, as in the later years of my corporate journey, and that's a whole nother book about when you get tired of being the vice president of blah, 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 because it all really doesn't mean anything at the end. I think that what I learned was that on the corporate side, it attacked my faith more than anything that I have been involved in. I got to see human beings at their absolute intelligent worst in the name of profit. And so you have to really lean on your faith to not get sucked into that. To just go, well, okay, well, I think she's nice, but I think we should let her go. Those were decisions I was given. Hey, Mel, you need to reduce 10% of your workforce. And every person was a person. And so that's the humanity that I had to bring to what I lived through. And so for me, to be retired away from that is I'm still in recovery. From because when you come home, you have to turn that off, and so so you need friends to kind of like ratchet you back down. And
who am I?
Who am I? Who am I? Ooh, boy. Part of the story is being in the military. I learned to be professionally profane. Beep, 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 beep. No.
And also my mom's in the room, but that's all right.
Hi, Mom. Actually, my mother and my mother did do that to me as a little. Where's it? Where's that? Felix. Both ears. Both. Because you go into this place. You go into this in the military. Steve can talk about it. And sometimes in certain jobs in corporate America, you go in this incredibly lonely place where you are by yourself making decisions about people's livelihood. I am looking at a young man who just told me they just had a kid. And I'm going to have to figure out whether I'm going to fire him or not. So all of those things, so that's one part of it. And then you try to bring and then you fight to recover your spiritual side in the midst of that. And it's a fight. And so for a long time of it, turn it on, and I turn it back off. And so when I turn it on, I was that profanely driving, bleep, 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 bleep guy. And then I'd go back to my room and close the door and ask God for forgiveness of acting that way. And so part of that last touch point I'll talk to you about is Mel, you retired because the ability to turn the switch, I wore the switch out. I couldn't. God said, okay, I told you, you can't turn that on anymore. You can't go there anymore. And so I, had made, the deal to end all deals, and I quickly learned that God said, this is my way of telling you it's time to shut it down. So, and then that's where the beer came in and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, and it is integrating. It is, and then I even take the journey further, and then, okay, Miles, you want to be the senior warden? And so there are some tools I have learned in that world that I bring, but I don't have to bring all those tools. I can do this with faith and hope and love.
Yeah. Many of you know, some of you may not, that senior warden is, in Episcopal speak, is the principal lay leader in the church, sort of like a Speaker of the House. You know, you don't preside over the house, but you are the most important role that sort of gathers all the lay leadership. So Mel started doing that. Started in the role last year, yeah, a year ago or so.
Well, I guess when we were on the vestry, I've been on the vestry 2 years, and then as we became a parish,
Yeah.
Miles asked me to be senior warden for this first year.
Because when you're a mission, it's what is the language?
Your bishops committee, bishop's warden,
and then senior warden.
Yeah. So when we at the diocesan council, that for me was incredibly heavy, because I'm going like, oh, they flipped the switch on me again.
Yeah. Different switch.
It's a different switch for
not the one you wore out. Different.
It's a different switch. So that's when you go back to my anchor verse, Proverbs 3:5-6. Lean not to your own understanding. And so those are the things that friendship and all those things can do. And there are folks in this room that I can argue with, and I can tell them they're driving too fast, and you're going to make, and Rob, you're going to kill me. But then on the other hand, he knows I love him to death. So, and thanks for fixing my computer again. But so those are the things that touch me the most.
Yeah. Anybody else have yeah. We've heard a lot about Rob, so let's hear from him. Hand him the microphone. Let's let the man speak.
Well, I was just going to say, tying back to some of the things you said earlier, is that different people have different gifts. And to your question, I think sometimes it's incumbent on those of us who do have those different gifts, who might be overly friendly and overly gregarious, to reach out to those who don't. And I think that's where we as a body are called into those different ways of seeing things. And just because we are different people, and that those of us who have those different gifts, we are the ones who have to do that reaching out to help the people who aren't easily make friends. And that was just a thought that I was having as you guys were talking about all of that, because each of us is different.
I think as what I've learned in 3 years, and I'd worked with men's ministries before I came here, and what I learned about that, sometimes with men, it may not be words. It may be the ability to look each other in the eye and say, how you doing? And it eventually erodes all that stuff that guides carry over time. Yeah, it just wears it off. And then guys, we are jealous of how our partners and ladies in our life really know how to talk, because we don't do that very well.
I'm not going to give you all of these.
Felix.
Man, somebody get that man a drink of water.
I've been writing. What do you feel, what do you wish people understood more deeply about building authentic relationships and friendships across differences?
Sounds like the title of the book.
I think that if I could put it in a nutshell, and I have dealt with people who are far, far on the political spectrums, and it's not my job to bring them together. It's my job to get stuff done. What I have learned is that we are far more alike than you ever thought we were. People are far, far, far more alike. Their basic wants and needs in life are far more alike. And so what I have learned to do is try to tap into the wants and needs of people versus the differences in people. And so I always try to reach that, oh, wow, I hear you like the Atlanta Braves. Really? So do I, yeah. That's a sports team. That's a sports team. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Robbie.
Mal, I heard you said raves. I heard you like raves.
Heard you like
Oh.
But just the Atlanta Braves.
Just the Atlanta.
What's deep sound?
Rob, help. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin. I can't. Just throw it. That's what guys do. Just throw it, then you hit somebody in the head.
You made me feel like a parishioner here, like day one. It was right before the men's week, where we met at your house. And it was like feeling seen. It was really kind of crazy just how, and you do it very naturally, or it appears you do it very naturally, however you feel. But it feels very seen, it feels very lovely, because I'm somebody who very outgoing, but actually not very social, which I think a lot of guys could probably say something like that. But what I'm thinking here is, you look around a church of several hundred people, few hundred people, however big this is. I'm coming from a congregation that's measured in thousands of families, so like really thousands. And I stopped being seen a while back. And it was definitely partly on me. I mean, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
And I hate to use but can you scale this? Can we do this, what you're talking about, as we go from this? And I probably have asked this different ways to different people a lot. Can we keep doing this and be as growth-oriented as St. Julian specifically really is? What's your favorite color, if you want an easy
Blue. And I like walks on the beach. I think, and to get caught in the rain. My favorite song is, I think, wow. The answer is yes. The answer is we will work hard to see how we can work through the mistakes that others have made. Let me give you, for instance, I asked Ross today about, let's look at communion, and let's look at how we run communion, because for visitors coming to the altar, if it is not a smooth and easy experience, it might turn them off. So we're always trying to look at how we are moving through this process to be aware of other people. Because part of where we are is when you're too familiar, it's like, oh yeah, it's going up there. You know how to do that. You know how to do that. But now we have others who are coming to us and they want to be a part of us. I think another part of us growing as friends is to be a friend. Is to be okay with reaching out to somebody who's new. I always try to, not because of my role, I always try to just, hey, how you doing? Welcome. And that can mean a lot to somebody because you never know where in life they are. But I do think that we will get there. I think we will get there by continuing this seeding of love. I think that when I talk to the people who were in St. Julian's when they were in the schoolhouse, they are still there was a worry that we had already gotten too big when we came into this place. And so we've worked through all that, I think.
It's gonna continue to be a job that we as a corporate body, not corporation, but corporate body have to do. We're going to, and it's incumbent on all of us to kind of do
We got
that.
5 minutes before we start our next
That's what I'm
service. So,
Mel, thank you so much for sharing. And I hope you all will come next week. Where's Paula? Is Paula here? Where is she? There she is. We're going to hear from Paula next week, so come on back. And